Hello, and welcome to this fifth video in our series about the nodes in the signs. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas in Pioneer, California.
Today, we're going to tell you what it's like when you have the North Node in Leo in your chart, which means also that you have the South Node in Aquarius. We're calling this one Be Yourself No Matter What They Say. And I think the reasons for that will become evident as we go along. But let's begin with a thinking about what it means, what the nodes mean in general. And we say this every time. We try to keep it brief because you may have heard it before, but I think it's important to say this again. Julia, can you take it away?
Well, sure. You usually introduce the nodes. I learned this from you as that they cut a path of destiny across this chart. So every node, a south and north node, we all have the moon's nodes in everyone's chart, and they're always 180 degrees apart. So they always take place in opposite signs. The south node it can represent different things in different astrological traditions, but what's common in modern astrology is that it represents karma, sort of the soul's, what are the things that you were bringing into this life that you may have picked up from past lives. And it represents things that feel very familiar, that feel maybe they just kind of come a little easily to you, that you identify with very strongly. And then the North Node, which is opposite that, represents sort of a point of evolution, like what you need to develop in this lifetime, so you don't just kind of keep going back on sort of similar ground. So the North Node is often a little bit more intimidating, a little bit scarier sometimes, maybe even a little bit unfamiliar to us. However, if we start developing these North Node aspects and really start consciously integrating them into our lives, we could discover that the North Node actually can kind of make us feel very refreshed, very renewed, and feel very growthful.
Yes, exactly. And when it comes to the nodes in Leo and Aquarius specifically, Leo is, of course, a sign that has to do with creativity, self-expression, self-discovery. It's ruled by the sun. And so it is about the quality of centralizing energies, pulling them into a center. So to have the North Node in Leo is to have an imperative in this lifetime to pursue your own unique creativity, to become a self, even that if that means that you stand out from the crowd and you feel like a target at times, to really face your discomfort with embarrassment and being seen, and instead to let yourself really shine. This involves a side effect, if you will, that you must let go of some of the traits that you were gifted with in your South Node in Aquarius. You may have a tendency to care very much about the group's approval of you. You may feel that who you are has emerged from a group. You may feel that tribe is like the foundation of your existence. And so you might even have a bad old habit of going along with the crowd. Now, this is both a talent and a bad old habit, as Julia was describing for the South Node. There are gifts and talents that come with your South Node simply because it feels so familiar and comfortable, like you've done a lot of it in past lives. However, if we rely on our South Node, that familiarity too much, then we stagnate. We evolve backwards instead of evolving forwards. So, and so even rebellion means using the group as your point of reference. And as long as you are using the group as your point of reference, you're not really individuating. So that's why we call this one Be Yourself No Matter What They Say. It means letting go of reliance on the group for an understanding of who you are, and standing out and shining on your own merits. So as an illustration of this, we have a couple of charts to show you. The first one is a really famous performer who you will undoubtedly recognize. Diana Ross is an American singer and Academy Award nominated actress who was one third of the Elegant Supremes trio in the 1960s. She went on to become a superstar performer on her own. So she ultimately left the group and took her own place among the stars, if you will. She rose to fame as the lead singer of that group, and that group became Motown's most successful act during the 1960s and one of the world's best-selling girl groups of all time. They remain, in fact, the best charting female group in history. Her career trajectory involved leaving the group and shining on her own merits. She also had to face being branded as temperamental, which is a kind of a Leo trait, right? So she had to move in the Leo direction of standing on her own, and become a diva, but without the reputation of a diva, right? She was named the Female Entertainer of the Century in 1976 and has sold more than 100 million records worldwide during the course of her career. The other, Julia, did you have anything you wanted to throw out there about Diana Ross's chart?
No, actually, I don't know too much about her life.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the other chart example, which is Giuseppe Verdi, another great in the world of music. He was a musician and composer of the 1800s who became known as the grand old man of Italian opera. You have absolutely heard snippets of his music. They're just used everywhere in commercials, all over the place. He faced serious obstacles when one of his operas flopped and was jeered by the audience. You can think of the audience as symbolizing Aquarius. And that left a lasting psychological imprint on his attitude towards critics and the press, which is also like a representation of Aquarius in this scenario. He recovered from this and composed again a few years later, establishing his reputation as one of the greats. But here's the really interesting part, which brings us into the realm of politics, actually, a very Aquarian realm. During his lifetime, Italy's various city-states were pressing toward unification. And his name was used as an acronym, which was a nationalistic battle cry, Viva Verdi, V-E-R-D-I, which meant long live Victor Emmanuel, King of Italy. And it was a rallying cry to bring Italy together as a single nation in its own right. Nationalism didn't mean then what it means now. Yes. By allowing the movement to use his name, he supported the centralization and unification. Again, that's a very Leo principle, right? Of the group, which is Aquarius. So he brought the energy away from disparate groups and towards centralization. Julia, any thoughts you wanted to throw in here?
No.
Okay. Well, this is the stuff we had for you today on North Node in Leo. If you have North Node, if you have that in your chart, perhaps you can relate to these charts, these people and their life paths. And may you burn a fiery path across the sky. Be yourself, no matter what they say. You can find this video on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, in the June 2022 news playlist. And you can find a lot more good stuff like this on our website, pandoraastrology.com. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.